Attraction, forward, passion, you know it. Attraction, good morning from Good Day Live. Yeah. Michelle and Kyle coming at you with a smile. So come and stay a while. Good times are the only style. Forward, passion, you know it. Attraction, good morning from Good Day Live. Yeah. Michelle and Kyle coming at you with a smile. So come and stay a while. Good times are the only style. Good day life. Good day life. Good day life. Good day life. Coming at you with the greatest guests and listeners. Don't worry, got a little bit of his and hers. Just 5 minutes, gonna be the mission from morning to night. So buckle up and ride with Michelle and Kyle. Coming at you with a smile. So come and stay a while. Good times are the only style. Good day life. 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 Gonna be the mission from morning to night. So buckle up and ride with Michelle and Kyle. Coming at you with a smile. So come and stay a while. Good times are the only style. Good day life. 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 Good day life.
Now tonight, we're gonna problem. It's so original, you can't replicate. Baddest girl I'll ever get today. Can't wait. It's here to stay, ay. And I won't go away. I won't go away.
Hey, welcome to Good Day Live. Today is December 27th, 2022. We're so happy to be here in the studio with you. It has been a minute. I am so happy to be here with my buddy Adam Freed. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here. I'm so glad to be opposite you.
Well, it's so great to have you here. For those that are watching at home, Adam and I have known each other since UCLA, and we would just spend all of our time in the parking lot talking about dreams and boys. And I don't think anything's really changed.
So get used to it.
So get used to it. Adam, what I love about Adam is not only a wonderful friend, but he's also an incredible actor, a producer, a writer, and you have some really good news. What happened that you can share with our viewers at home?
Yeah, I just booked 2 roles in some original plays for a short play film festival called Pick of the Vine, which is going to be in San Pedro at the Little Fish Theater. So I'm very excited about that. Just found that news yesterday.
Congratulations! That's so awesome. You
Thank
deserve
you.
all the good that's coming coming your way. I am so proud of you. When you called me the other day to tell me, I was like, wait, save it for the show.
I will.
That's
And you heard it first.
awesome. And you heard it first. And I love that Adam is filling in for Mr. Kyle Trueblood. We're sending you lots of love, Kai, wherever you are. I know he's in Jersey right now, but I don't know what he's doing.
Probably just celebrating with family and stuck with a blizzard like most of the East Coast right now.
Kyle literally, every time I ask him how his day is, he's always like, oh, I did this, and this. And I was like, wow, I have no life. Speaking of no life, what did you do for Christmas? Not you, me. What did you do for Christmas?
Leading up to Christmas, I was working so much that I purposely wanted to have a relaxing Christmas weekend. So I went to my sister's house in Redondo Beach. They just finished renovating their house with this beautiful renovation of their kitchen. So that was so exciting because my brother-in-law is an amazing cook. I mean, he really could be a chef.
Oh, awesome.
So we had some incredible meals. I mean, we made incredible lasagna. He sous vide and but yeah, we had lots of just family time with my nieces, playing games, and we went and saw the
What games? We love games here at Good Day Live. So what games?
Have you ever heard of taco goat cheese pizza?
Wait, no, let's taco goat cheese pizza.
It is a crazy card game.
Listening? Wait, really?
It's a crazy card game where you basically have to repeat those words as you're playing the cards. But if you end up saying the card that is played, you have to slap it, and the last one to slap it gets the pile because the goal is to lose your cards.
So fun.
But then there's also these other cards like Gorilla where you have to beat on your chest, or Groundhog where you have to beat on the table, or Narwhal where you put your hands above your head. Narwhal, exactly. So if those cards come up, then it's the last one that does that move gets the pile of cards. And so we ended up screaming at each other. I was sweating profusely because I was under stress of everyone screaming as we're going. They're like, go! It's very confusing. It's one of those like rubbing your belly, patting your head kind of things. It's just so confusing. And we also saw Avatar: Way of Water.
Oh, how was that?
It did not disappoint.
Really?
It is insane.
I heard Kate Winslet held her breath for 8 minutes. Is that true? That can't be
7
true.
minutes, 4 seconds is what
How
I
is
heard.
that even possible? 7 minutes and 4 seconds.
There's a really amazing documentary I saw on Hulu. If anyone has Hulu, you can watch this. And it literally shows the making of that movie. And the actors all had to train with Navy SEALs to learn how to hold their breath.
Wow.
Professionally. I mean, they all all the kids and everyone that was part of the cast had to be certified to be scuba divers. And then they had to learn this professional method, how not to breathe like most people do.
That's terrifying.
And so, because most of these long sweeping shots end up being there's a ton of underwater footage. And so the reason it took 13 years is they had a lot of complications.
It took 13 years to make this movie?
Well, they started filming it 13 years ago after the last one.
I didn't know that. That's incredible.
But it's rumored to have that he shot the second, third, and fourth movies all consecutively. So that the kids were not going to have the Stranger Things effect. Where
where they all of a sudden they just age and it's like, what? What is that?
But if anyone hasn't seen it yet, it is as epic as the first one. It does not disappoint.
Excited.
Definitely hold your bladder. It's like a 3-hour movie.
Hold your bladder?
3-hour movie with about 25 minutes of previews.
Hold your bladder.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
You don't want to miss a moment.
You don't want to miss a moment.
What did you do for Christmas?
I did a whole lot of nothing. I did a lot of relaxing. I was recovering from a little bit of a bug. But
it's been going around.
Yeah, it's been going around. Got to see some friends and that was nice, and just chilling. I just, you know what I think it was is I think my body was just you need to just rest.
Yes.
And while I was resting, as I stumble over my words, I watched Marissa and Natasha do Good Day Live, and they were great. And so I want to give a special shout out to both of them because they were keeping me entertained.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And lots of good vibes. So
the show will go on.
No, the show always will go on. I can't wait to see their own spinoff of whatever show they're gonna do because they're just so good together. You just want to watch. You're waiting for waiting for something to happen when you watch them.
Oh yeah, cool. There's certain people that just kind of draw you in, and
they for
I
sure.
love that.
They drew me in. I was watching every episode, and then I messaged Natasha because she was talking about certain books about health, and as I was getting over that bug, I was like, tell me, I need to know what books, and they are so good. I think it's what is it, Miracle Medium or something like that? The Miracle Medium. Oh, medical medium. Yes, thank you, Natasha.
But what is a miracle? It was a miracle.
Special shout out not only to Natasha for hosting last week, the last couple weeks, but also she is manning the station, which is amazing. So it takes a lot of talent to do that.
It takes a village.
It takes a village, but when it's just Natasha, she can do it all.
Yes.
She can host, she can produce, she can run a studio. So we're happy
I love
to
it. I
have
mean,
that.
that's a great tee-in for our guests today. I mean, having a
Yes.
multi-hyphenate is
Mhm.
it's just it's always so impressive when people can juggle multiple balls in the air. I've always been trying to do it with my career as well, and
Yeah.
I think it kind of keeps things interesting. You know,
It
you're
does.
always growing, and
You're
you
always
just
on your
learn how to pivot.
toes.
Exactly. You
You're
learn how to
always
pivot.
on your toes. It's funny that you said that. My friend Emily, who lives in the building, she knows how to juggle. And she showed me how to juggle. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't do that at all.
I try to learn, but I feel like I can only go like maybe 8 ball tosses before I start to lose it.
8-ball tosses? Does that count the 3 balls?
That's basically about 5 seconds for those that are professional jugglers. You know.
Yeah, do
I'm
you
not
know?
a juggler.
Do you know? We also have the chat. So if you're new to the show, like tune in, talk to us, let us know how your Christmas was. If you celebrate Christmas, do you celebrate Kwanzaa? What do you have?
Or Hanukkah, represents.
Sorry, Hanukkah. And did you? I mean, you celebrated Hanukkah too. You're a
We
Christmas guy,
did.
right?
So my family is a little bit of a hyphenate because, well, religious hyphenate, I guess.
A
I could
religious
say.
hyphenate? Okay,
And
that's
so
fair.
yeah, my mom married my dad, and when she did, she had converted to Judaism. So
I
like
didn't
half
know
that side of
that.
the family was
Aw.
Christian. So
Huh.
and my sister married an ex-Catholic, my
An
brother-in-law. So
ex-Catholic. What's an ex-Catholic?
it's someone that still celebrates the holidays of Christmas and
doesn't
Easter, but
practice?
they don't go to church on a
All
regular
right, I hear
basis.
that.
And I've actually met quite a few people in my life that have been that way.
Do they say just ex-Catholic, or they just say just nothing?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a group of people that all
Like,
have
is
a way of saying it. But the long story short is that my family has always kind of had a little bit of a mix where we had to do Hanukkah and Christmas. And so, speaking of this Christmas Eve, like we didn't get to actually do a Hanukkah dinner when we celebrated Hanukkah because
Yeah.
my parents and I went to Sedona over Thanksgiving, and that's when we did our Hanukkah celebration.
That's so nice.
It was beautiful. It's like
Yeah, you
being,
showed
it's like
me
literally living
photos.
in Cars Land. Like literally, it's like
Awesome.
Radiator Springs everywhere you look. The
Radiator
beautiful lights.
Springs. Oh, I love that movie so much.
Me too. Me
I
too.
love that movie so much.
So on our Christmas Eve dinner, we actually did like latkes and kugel with the prime rib to have a little bit of a Hanukkah influence.
Kugel is the pasta, right?
Yeah, it's like
the
a
pasta
noodle
thing?
pasta
My mom would make that.
dish. Oh, really?
She would make that because she's from Jersey, so
I
like.
told you, you're like a seasonal Jew.
I
Like,
think I might be
you're Jewish by
I'm
association,
Yes,
perhaps.
and so Jewish by association is my very first script that I ever wrote.
won several awards for. Humble
Won-
brag.
Aw, thanks. Yeah, I did win. I did win a bunch of awards for it. It kind of started the trajectory of my career in my life, which was really cool. But you were always just super supportive, and I had no idea. And the first award it won was through UCLA in the 2018 comedy writing contest, which was really cool and
It's
opened
a big
me
deal.
up
There's
to
a lot of talented writers.
Thanks. I almost said thanks, Kai. You're not Kyle.
You can call me Guy if you can't say Kai.
Thanks, Kai. No. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it. You've always been a super supportive friend, so I'm really grateful to have you in my life.
Me too. I'm grateful for you.
It's wild. I just think like you were on my show Dream On, and we talked about like, the process of having a dream and how it it doesn't stop, but it just evolves.
It
and
does.
like it grows, and now you're like on the precipice of like, I can't say the things that you're about to do, which is driving me nuts. But writing shows,
Big things. Big things. Huge.
huge,
Yeah.
huge things, which is so exciting. And I'm so happy that you're going to be on the stage again, because you
Me-
belong on the stage.
Me too. I used to start my career in New York City, and I loved being on stage. I loved being in New York City, but I don't miss the winter. So when I moved out to LA, I always thought I'd still do a lot of theater, and there just hasn't been a lot of opportunities that just fit with my schedule.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the first foray in 7 years where I finally get to go back on the stage.
I'm so excited.
Not
I'm
one,
so
but 2 shows.
excited.
So I'm
It's
very excited
so
about that. And I have a
amazing.
callback for the lead of a musical, which would happen after that. So I might have a little bit more theater in 2023.
I'm excited for theater in 2023 for you. I'm also excited for our special guest, Mary Apik, who will be here. She is our multi-hyphenate actress, writer, producer. Her short film, The Cat, was up for an Academy Award last year, so we're really excited to talk to her about that and how she's giving a voice to those that don't necessarily have a voice, all through the art of her film, which
She's
is
such
really
an
cool.
impressive woman. I mean, her career is,
Yeah.
she's an activist, she's a filmmaker, she's a playwright.
Yep.
And I really can't wait to hear about her journey of when she had to flee Iran to come to this country.
Yeah.
So
It's
very excited to talk to her and just to kind of be inspired.
yeah.
Like you inspire me.
You inspire me.
Ah.
You are the reason why I started Charlotte Chronicles. And for anyone that's watching that doesn't know about the Charlotte Chronicles, it's a show that I wrote about my dog that you can check out. But make sure you go to good_day_live on Instagram. And you can like connect to Charlotte Chronicles through there as well. Adam is in the Charlotte Chronicles.
You may notice a familiar face.
Adam plays a very bougie dog owner. You're the manager of Gigi, the Pomeranian, and everyone loved you. Everyone who saw the show saw you, and they were like, "I love that guy. He reminds me of Jeremy Piven." I was like, "Really?"
Oh God.
Well, you did such a good job. Like, you are not only just a great friend, but you really like dedicated to the role. Like
I commit.
You do commit. You came in with like the best shoes. Was it the first thing that Kyle said to you was like he liked your shirt?
He liked my shirt. He liked my shoes.
And he's a tough cookie when it comes to fashion.
Oh, there
apparently.
you go. Well, thanks, Kai.
Thanks, Kai. Apparently, he used to be a personal shopper.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
That's
I
interesting.
think at Nordstrom's. I could be getting it wrong.
That reminds me of Rachel from Friends when she did that.
Was
for
she a
while.
personal shopper?
Yeah,
I thought
or it was like was she at Bloomingdale's or Nordstrom's that
think
she had
she
to like
was
help
at
men shop?
Bloomingdale's.
Yeah.
And then she was wasn't she? Well, then she worked for Ralph Lauren.
Yeah. Well, she worked her way up within the retail world,
Space.
but
Yeah. Did you ever work in retail?
that is the one job I haven't
Wait,
done.
really? You didn't
Yeah.
work in retail? I worked in retail when I was 16 years old, and it was the most terrifying job I ever had. That and waiting tables.
Well,
I shortly after got a job at the Cheesecake Factory,
Oh.
and like, first of all, don't tell somebody to wear all white. Seriously.
I
Like,
don't understand that. There's so many sauces, so many
so many
cheesecakes.
sauces, so many cheesecakes, and my arms are only so big. So like I literally at like 19 had like a white button. First of all, you have to press it.
Yes, of
You have
course.
to press a white button down, and I loved I used to love the Cheesecake Factory. I used to love it so much. And then I'm wearing this like white button down with the white apron that has to be like pressed in the middle, and white pants, and I swear they're like white. They look like white old lady shoes. Like you wear like white
I
old
do
lady
believe they've
shoes.
changed up their
Oh, did
regime. I
they?
think they wear blacks now, but like I totally know what you're
Wait,
talking
they wear
about.
black now?
Yeah.
Wait,
I-
Cheesecake Factory wears black?
Don't quote me,
I thought
Cheesecake
they
Factory.
were all white.
No, I think they have changed it because
This
of
is
that
how
problem.
long I haven't been at the Cheesecake Factory.
It's true. They miss you.
The last time I went to Cheesecake Factory was with you.
I know.
It's true.
We had a tradition to go to the Cheesecake Factory before seeing a movie at the Grove.
Oh, when can we see a movie at the Grove
We
again?
need to.
Yeah,
Honestly,
please.
there's so many great movies that are coming out. I want to see the menu really badly.
What's the menu? Oh wait, that's the. Oh no, that's a thriller. I can't do that.
Oh, well,
What else do we got?
we'll
What else do
figure
we
out
have
another
what else
one.
do we
We'll
have
figure out
on the
another
movie?
one. But
What
I
else
also
do we have?
saw Babylon over Christmas,
Oh,
and that is
And he's
epic.
in Babylon.
I
Can
am
we
in
say that? He's
Babylon.
in Babylon?
I am in Babylon. You
Adam's in Babylon.
blink, you'll miss me.
You
But I was in
will.
that epic.
Wait, did you find yourself?
I did see myself for
Did you
just
really?
a split second, but I was so surprised at how fast that scene went because we had this huge epic battle scene where there's military soldiers, there's
Yeah.
explosions, there's horses,
Fur?
and
You're
it
wearing
happens,
fur?
and it happens. Well, it's a forage thick wool vest, and we shot this in Santa Clarita in July, which was like
I
100
remember
degrees.
that.
But it was just such a fast moment of a 3-hour and 9-minute movie. But that movie,
It was such a fast moment.
it was, and I was like, I spent
How many
all day.
seconds?
Oh, I mean, it happens in
2
like,
seconds?
I would say probably about 15 or so.
15-second
Yeah.
like clip of a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Ah,
But
don't know.
I'm very proud of my 15
You should
seconds
be
of fame.
not Justin Horwitz. Wait, did he compose it? Justin Horwitz?
I don't know who composed, but I know that it's
Holland?
Damien
Yeah,
Chazelle.
It was Damien Chazelle.
Damien Chazelle wrote and directed. It's super ambitious. I will tell you, it is one of the.
Confusing? Is it like a little confusing?
It's not really confusing. It's kind of about this actress, Margot Robbie, is
Uh-huh.
aspiring to kind of
She's
pursue the
killing
career
it.
in Hollywood. She is killing it. She deserves an Oscar for this performance.
She's been in so many movies
And
this
she
past
meets
year.
this guy at this crazy, epic, wild Hollywood-style party.
What guy?
I can't remember the name of the actor's
Okay.
name. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay.
But he's also pursuing to get in on set as well. That's kind of their dream moment where they
Okay.
both want to be on set.
Uh-huh.
And then it kind of goes very quickly in time as they pursue their career, where she becomes this big starlet, he becomes a studio executive, and they kind of are these like Romeo and Juliet star-crossed lovers that are really working hard to pursue their dreams, but they both have, you know, so many obstacles of what's happening, and
Yeah.
she's kind of a mess in a way where she's just kind of a wild party girl and
I
can't
feel
really
like
quit
you
the
kind
party.
of have to be a mess a little bit if you want to be in entertainment. Just a little bit of a mess.
Oh yeah,
Like, cause it's such a weird world, right? Like,
it is.
you know. Okay, so she's kind of a mess, and then what happens?
Well, ultimately, I don't want to give any spoilers for
Right.
people that haven't seen it, but it really takes them on a huge journey. There's so much that that you go through in the development of a career that's kind of ebbing and flowing. And then when
Yes.
Tobey Maguire makes an appearance, it takes the whole movie takes a whole turn. There are things you'll see that you really were not expecting at all to see, as far as every moment that is on screen is pretty epic. There's so many people that they orchestrate with ensemble and cast and a huge. I mean, there's like elephants and there's like crazy things that have happened that you wouldn't expect for a movie that
So this
has.
is a tentpole movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
And you saw this on Christmas Day.
The Friday of Christmas
Nice,
weekend,
Nice.
and it was definitely another long one that was amazing. But that's another sign that like the theaters are back. You know,
Yes.
at the
I'm
start
so
of that-
happy to hear that.
at the start of that movie, there's literally a clip of Margot Robbie and her co-star. And forgive me for not knowing his name. I forgot what his name is. But they're thanking you for coming to the theater to see the film. And I think
That's awesome.
there's
I
so
love
many
that.
people that need to go back out into the
Yes,
theaters. You know,
theater. We need the theater. We need movies. We need shows, because this is how we communicate our feelings, what's going on in the world.
how we tell
and
stories,
how we
have
tell
distractions.
Stories, have distractions, but also to teach and to learn.
Exactly.
And I think, yes, the arts will never die, but it makes me happy that those actors said thank you for coming, and I think
Yeah.
that's incredible. Like, it just brings me so much joy going to go see a movie. Just like even the idea of like going to, like, as you said, the Grove, and like parking and like getting our popcorn and like having the sushi. It's just like there's just this beautiful ritual of like having this experience, which I feel like I really miss, and I can't wait to get back to the movies.
It was kind of like an artist date for us, which
It
I don't know if
was.
anyone's read, The Artist's
Yes.
Way by Julie Cameron, but
Love that
it
book.
literally is kind of like a little inspirational night. We get to go have scintillating conversation, and then we get to go be taken on a journey with the story, and then we just kind of feel all lifted.
Yes,
which is kind of what you need in this time period we're in right now.
Yes, we need to feel uplifted. That's for sure. What was the? How many times did we see La La Land together?
I don't,
Was it? How many
I think
times
it
did
was
you
at
see it in
least-
the movie theater?
I think we saw it at least 4 times.
Yeah. I saw La La. Well, so I had given up on acting, and I had given up on just creating. This is,
Mhm.
what was this? 2017 or 2016? 2017? 2017.
I feel like it was kind of around that cusp, like December 2016, I
2017?
think. So like around
Yeah,
that time.
like around that time. And I remember you saying like, "We got to see La La Land."
Mhm.
And I was just like, I don't know. And it literally was like the 2 metal pulses that they give, like when they're, bringing someone back to life, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
shock to the heart. It did. It like shocked me so much to my
Mhm.
soul, where I was like, I can't give up on the writing and the acting and the producing and the creating. And I'm so glad, that movie came out, because it literally reignited my soul.
That's
And
amazing.
had me go back to UCLA for writing and producing, and like that's what brings me here, which
Exactly.
is crazy.
Full circle.
And meeting incredible guests, like our special guest today, which is super exciting, and we can
It
talk
is
about
exciting.
her journey and all the great stuff that she's accomplished in her career. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of wild how like movies and these moments in our life inspire us to keep going.
Yeah. I think the pandemic really made me realize how relevant the arts are. Because
Oh,
obviously,
yeah, for sure.
if you took them away, the world would be a much darker place. and,
Yeah.
And I think, we need some things to kind of like remind us that there is light on the other side of the end of the darkness and
Totally.
the other side of the tunnel. Which is a lot of similar themes to Mary's short film. I can't
Yes,
wait to talk to her
I'm
about
so
today.
excited to talk to Mary about her short film. It's beautiful. We were talking about it. I think she just entered the building, which we were so excited to talk to her and go into further detail with her. But it was up for an Academy Award, which is like
Gosh.
incredible. You and I both love animation. I know you. I can't give too much detail away, but you too are working on an animated film. Is
I
that-
am as well, but
Yeah.
yes.
Am I allowed to say that? Can I say that? I wasn't allowed to say that. No.
You're allowed to say that. That's as far
He's
as we'll
taking it
dabble
back.
into that
He's
one.
taking it back. Okay, that's as far as we'll go. I know. I have a big mouth. I just am excited. A big mouth. You think I would host a TV show or something?
Maybe it's a good fit.
Maybe it's a good fit. It's a great fit. No, I remember I told this story to Kyle when I was little. My mom would be like, "Do you ever stop talking?" And I would say no. And she goes, "I hope one day that will bring you good use. Like, I hope it will serve you one day."
Well, it is called the gift of gab, is it not?
It is the gift of gab. I realized I talk a lot. Last night, this is when you've sat across from Kyle Trueblood for too long. Last night I talked to my good friend Drea, who's filling in tomorrow.
Oh, excellent.
We talked on the phone for 3 hours and 10 minutes.
That is a long time.
It's a long time.
Long time.
I said, Drea, you know what we need to do? We need to take this creative energy and put it into like a show. Like
a show, a
create
movie,
show,
a short film.
movie,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter. A play,
Because
whatever.
we talked for so long, and I was cracking up. I was snorting. I was laughing, like snorting from like laughing and crying because it was so funny. The things that she was talking about, and it was all about like dating, which I love. Like, you know, that's one of
It's
my
a very
hot
juicy
topics.
subject matter, I would say.
I think so.
It's sort of, it's amazing how many stories I myself have witnessed in my career of dating, but I also have witnessed a lot of friends telling hilarious stories that you almost can't believe happened. But
Remember the other
it's
day when I
brutal out
called
there.
you with 3 talking points, and you were like, "What did you say? I think I need a glass of wine."
I did. I needed a glass of wine. It was that intense.
I said, "Adam, I've got 3 talking points for you." Boom, 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 and you were like, "Whoa!"
My head's still spinning.
My head's still spinning.
Felt like one of those bobbleheads.
You know, Dre actually made a really solid point yesterday, which I'm sure we'll talk about tomorrow. But she said, like, if a guy was like very fully presenting like that he's ready to commit and solid and all this, she thinks that she would run. What do you think about that?
I think a lot of people are love avoidance. It's a technical term where they resist what's good for them.
Yeah.
And that probably has some. I'm not a psychologist, but that's something is a
You're
little bit
not?
more deep seated. No, although
I thought you were Dr. Freed for some reason.
well, for a moment. But I have heard of some people that have taken psychology classes and acting classes. They said they learned more about psychology from acting class.
Yeah.
And they learned more about acting from psychology class, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But to get back to the point of avoiding, I think some people don't really know what's good for them. There is probably something that's trauma that has happened that makes them kind of
Interesting.
resist
Elaborate
things that are
more.
good. Well, some people just kind of, we learn our relationship experience from the role models in our life. So if your parents are a loving couple that are affectionate in front of you, that's probably how you're going to want to be in a relationship. That's how probably you want to be treated.
Yeah.
If your parents fight all the time, or if they're divorced, or if there's been a split, that's your example of what a relationship is. And of course, there's exceptions to the rules. I mean not to say that people can't still have wonderful relationships after having parents that didn't work out. But
Yeah, of course.
I do think we are very much sponges of the love experience.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's hard for us to be able to know what is good for us. And because people get in their own way, they self-sabotage on a regular basis.
Well, yes to that, and like she's right. Like I think there is a certain level of like when somebody is fully present and fully committed and is like, "Hey, let's do this." It's like, because then you have.
It can be scary. It's unnerving because they are so confident and so there.
And they're right in front of you.
It's a very intense mirror to be in front of if you're not feeling the same way.
Yeah, well, not if you're not feeling the same way, but like you have to be like, am I ready, like truly ready for this, even if I asked for it? Because it's a lot.
It's true.
It's a lot.
I mean, a lot of people like to work on themselves as we're getting into our New Year's resolutions
you
and
have
such.
some?
I feel, well, I always have some.
All right, what do you
mean,
got? What's the always? Is there one that's a steady one?
Well, yes.
Okay, what's the
So
what's the steady?
I am
Your
obsessed with
face is
coffee.
hilarious.
It's like seriously something that I always spend my money on is getting like Starbucks
are
or
you giving
cold
it up?
brew. Well, not giving it up. I just would like to be
Oh.
better and smarter about it, like brew from home. I have a cold brew maker
Oh,
at home.
you walked.
I walked in with my own coffee
walked a
today. I
set
made
with your own
myself.
cup.
I did. I'm working on it.
Don't you have
And
an
then the first
espresso?
thing I received for Christmas was a Starbucks gift card. So I was like, well, it looks like that's not going to happen.
Well, it wasn't your money. It was a gift.
It's true. It's true. But I'm gonna try and be a little bit smarter about like groceries and coffee and kind of
Okay.
brewing from home,
Okay.
cooking my own meals, not spending as much on Grubhub and deliveries because I think
Grubhub. I've never gotten from Grubhub.
Grubhub.
No.
You haven't gotten from
Never.
Grubhub.
Never once. Never once. It's always either
We
been
literally
Uber.
had sushi together and you ordered delivery of sushi.
It was Uber.
Well, the same
I know it's
point.
the same.
The same
No,
point.
I know it's the same know it's the
I'm
same
trying
point.
to be smarter about
I hear that.
saving and not necessarily, and making like the going out to eat a special occasion where it's something I can really enjoy and
Yes.
treat myself versus like
Kiku
being
sushi, anyone?
the normal. Yeah, exactly.
Adam and I love Kiku sushi, although I'm a creature of habit. So like I always want to go to the same place.
You do,
Gone
but
to the same place a million
if
times.
Kiku's listening, we love you.
Yes, Kiku, if you want to sponsor the show.
We've been going to
Sushi
you
galore.
for 7 years, and we love you.
7 years.
I
Is
know.
that how long we've known each other?
Yeah, that is.
Oh, happy 7 years.
Happy 7 years.
Aw, Adam, I love you. You're such a great friend.
I love you too.
I'm so grateful.
And
Okay,
we look
so
the same, don't we?
we look amazing.
Yeah,
we
we
get
do.
better with age. I think that's true with so many people, and the more people fight it, the more they'll just look ragged. Ragged? Rugged? Ragged.
Ragged.
Ragged? Ragged? We don't look ragged. Okay, so you're gonna do you're gonna be more cost effective with your groceries.
Yeah,
and
and I also
coffee.
would like to kind of get into a routine because that's something that I
What
really
routine?
struggle with. A routine of just kind of like if I want to, I love to do yoga and take yoga class. I love to go for hikes. I love to play tennis. I love to go running. And I feel like I get so bombarded in a work schedule where
Yeah.
sometimes, and I also have a dog, my lovely dog, Oliver.
Oh, Ollie, I wish we had a picture of Ollie. You have the
he's-
cutest
he's adorable.
dog. Where did you adopt him from?
Well, I adopted him from the Lang Foundation, and
Mhm.
he really rescued me. He's such
did
a
rescue
good
you.
sweetheart. But having a dog, you have to walk them 3 times a day and kind of have a routine with the dog. But
Yeah.
I haven't been able to carve time for myself and getting a little bit more endorphins in my life.
Yeah.
And I think I need a little bit more endorphins to kind of give myself that natural energy. So,
Endorphins are always a good thing. Yeah.
what about yourself?
What about myself? For me, it's just more about like being in alignment with what I'm saying and what I'm doing. I was really good at that, and then I got taken off my course.
Why is that?
Why is that? I don't know really why. I think it just happened towards the end of the year, like around the end of the summer. And I was just not, I was sick. I felt like my alignment went off. I felt like my words and my actions were like this. Like when we started this show, I was so fully aligned. And the
Mhm.
second I started to go off the alignment, I started feeling not well. I started feeling like anxious. I started feeling like overwhelmed and like all the
And you
feelings.
even got sick.
I got really, really sick.
Yeah.
So it's my body saying like, girl, get it together and stay in alignment, because when you're in alignment, things are so great for you.
It's true.
And you don't need to like veer off. I think also like I am a very much like I don't like conflict. I only like conflict in my scripts, and I only like conflict in storytelling.
Right.
But I don't like conflict in my life. And like I think it comes from like being like always wanting to be. I didn't realize like I was doing a lot of like reading and research while I wasn't feeling well about like people pleasing, and like kids tend to do that in households. Like if they're not getting like enough attention in a certain area of their life, they'll like do like extra. And my mom and my dad did like the best job I think ever. But it's interesting how like you're like, oh wow, this comes from being a kid.
Yeah.
And so whenever there's conflict in my life, I try to I want to fix it.
Yeah.
But I can't fix everything. Nobody can fix everything.
And it goes back to like Dr. Freed and psychology.
Dr.
So it's like,
Freed, I like
I'm not a
this.
doctor by any means. I have
I li-
actually
I li-
two
I like
cousins
this,
that
I
are
like
Dr.
this.
Freeds, which is kind of funny. But in general, I feel that it's important to sometimes be able to have an ability to hold up a mirror to yourself and
Yes.
to see, if there's something that is rooted in your childhood or rooted in something, to know that it's not your fault, that it's something that kind of was ingrained in you. And then
Yeah.
I think the ability to work on ourselves is a beautiful thing.
It
That
is.
is one of the hardest things that you can do, is just to be able to look at yourself and not judge, but to be able to see the room for improvement, and then be able to kind of find a way of kind of getting out of that rut. And
Yeah.
and so I applaud that whenever you're able to kind of recognize you want to be in alignment. Like, good for you.
Thanks.
That's fantastic.
Thanks.
I'll be your
yeah.
accountability partner.
I already feel this one coming in hot. Thank you, accountability partner.
Hey, I
Listen,
think that's
I'll
useful.
I'm not going to put any pressure on me to do anything that is that feels jolting to the system. I think it's just going to be like baby steps, and slowly get back to what I was doing before, and to hold space and grace for myself, because I think especially with New Year's resolutions, I think we can be so tough on ourselves.
No,
It's just
absolutely.
like, just take it easy. You know what I mean? Like, you got the whole year. Like, it doesn't have to start on the 1st. You just take your time, hold space for yourself and grace, and know that everything ultimately will end up working out for you. I said this to Kyle, and I said, every experience in our life is for our greatest good. Even at the time it happens, it might be the most horrible experience, but from that experience, we can learn and grow and help other people heal.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I believe in that.
I think being kind to yourself is something that's a challenge. I do think it's important for us to remember to do that because
Yeah.
life can be very hard and it can be very challenging.
Yeah.
Depending on what city you live in, but we live in Los Angeles where there's traffic, there's all these obstacles we have to deal with
Traffic in LA?
just to
No.
exist. Not the weather though. The weather doesn't
Weather-
really fight us very much.
weather is
Sorry,
amazing.
East Coast.
Yeah, sorry,
But,
East Coast. I know it's like 7 degrees over there.
But we have to always, if you can choose anything to do, just be kind. Be kind to somebody else, be kind to yourself, and
I
that
love
will change your day, it'll change someone else's day.
I love that so much. What else I love is we have a very special guest in the building, Miss
Yes.
Mary Apig, award-winning activist, incredible woman. We're so excited. Actress, has an incredible film, The Cat, that we're going to talk about shortly. So
So
please don't
good.
go anywhere after this. We will be right back after these messages. See you soon.
So here is our Jackery. Unbox it. You want to get it charged up. You use this fantastic charger over here. This is the output over there. And it has an extra cable like this with the ability to charge it in your car. So that is really cool. So we have it all charged up. It has here, you can press on the display. You can see now that it is not drawing any power, it is not bringing in any power, and it is 99% charged, which is cool. So as you want to use all your separate things, you can turn on the little lights, and it will show you, as you can see there, that now you can draw power out of them, or you can turn them off, just like you would at home. If you want to leave something plugged in, but not having it draw power, there you can turn it off. So let's have some fun and see what our Jackery can fire up. So in the past, we have used the Jackery to light up our lives with Govee. We have charged our cell phones, and we have done a few other things. But we've even lit up the AeroGarden. How amazing is that we were able to light up the AeroGarden? But today we're going to push the Jackery to the limit, and we are going to take a look at the This Works. What's this? This Works car vacuum. Awesome, very cool. And we could even take a look at Tambi used it. And how amazing is this? Oh my goodness. You can just keep on going and going and going. You can get into every little nook and cranny in your car with all of this. How awesome. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick it into our Jackery. Let's do it this way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Turn it on. The little light and the display have gone on because we are about to fire this up. Thank you, Mr. Jackery. There we go. That is cool. Let's see what else we can fire up today. That is just so cool. You see, powerful vacuum, Jackery fired it up. Let's have a look at some of the other things that we can fire up today. Let's see. Here we go. So let's try the Levoit air purifier. This is a high power drawing item, I think. I would imagine so. It's not something that you would generally plug into this little power port here. Amazing. If this works, you know how incredible this must be. So not only is the Jackery used when you are camping or exploring the world in your RV or your car, The Jackery can also be your backup power source for a disaster. Disaster preparedness. The Jackery is definitely something that you'd want to have in your home. And like, God forbid there is something and the air is not pure and now you're stuck in your home, you've got no power, you can't put your air purifiers on. If there's a huge amount of dust in the air, or if there's a big, like we are in California, there could be a huge earthquake, will bring up a lot of dust, but you obviously want to still keep your lungs protected. Let's see if the Jackery not only will give us power, but will also save lives. So plug it in over here. We'll turn it on. And you can see, let's actually put this up a little bit because you'll be able to see the lights. So let's put that, try and see if you can see that there. This all in the name of, okay, there we go. So the little light is on. We have the, did you see that? Okay, turn it on. Let's turn on the light so you guys can see. There we go. That is it. So we have our Levoit that is powered up. You can see the lights are on over there. And this is thanks to our Jackery. How incredibly powerful is this tiny little box. That is amazing. So these are the cool things that we can do thanks to our Jackery. Oh my goodness. Look at that. This powerful little thing can do all of that. Okay, so here is our Jackery. Unbox it. You want to get it charged up. You use this fantastic charger over here. This is the output over there. And it has an extra cable like this with the ability to charge it in your car. So that is really cool. So we have it all charged up. It has here, you can press on the display. You can see now that it is not drawing any power, it is not bringing in any power, and it is 99% charged, which is cool. So as you want to use all your separate things, you can turn on the little lights and it will show you, as you can see there, that now you can draw power out of them, or you can turn them off just like you would at home if you want to leave something plug.
Welcome back to Good Day Live. I'm Michelle Murad, along with
Adam Freed.
and the lovely Miss Mary Apek. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So you're an actress, an activist, a filmmaker. I mean,
A writer, a director, the list continues.
A producer. I mean, you've done so much. Talk to us about what brings you the most joy. You do it all, but what brings you the most joy?
That's a very good question, because acting is my forte. That's how I started. I'm second generation in my family. And my mom, she was a legendary actress back in the Middle East in Iran. And
Wow.
so I'm the second generation. I started when I was 10 years of age.
Wow.
And it was, at the time, it was an overnight success on a show that was like a Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that's so
Amazing.
cool.
Satiric, yeah, it was satirical, and a lot of political issues were being explored in that show, and then later on to the feature films and theater and all that, and then Revolution happened after I won a major award in Moscow International Film Festival for acting.
Right.
Then I had to start fresh from the bottom all the way in the United States.
Oh my God.
So it was a.
And what was that like, having to start over?
Oh my goodness! Like I was 22 years old, and at the peak of my career, so I was being compared to the genre of the work I did, like Meryl Streep, like Jane Fonda, type of a very strong, powerful roles for women, and leading actor. And unfortunately, I got here when you're not born, probably at the peak of the hostage crisis. It was really horrible, and especially American hostages, and I'm in America. So I had to start all over again and start building my theater career, which is, closest to my heart, on stage, and then eventually with the community, and then expand it more and more into the films. And my first film was The Mission, which won a Best Film Award in
Amazing.
Locarno Film Festival.
Congrats.
Tiny little budget, but it was political. It was about the issues of Iran. And then the second one was Checkpoint, the same thing, and which I actually executive produced that, and as well as I was a leading star in it.
Wow.
And there was an NBC On the Wings of Eagles
Amazing.
with Burt Lancaster and Richard Corrina, the late, both are not anymore, with Andrew McLaughlin as a director, who was a legendary director. His father was a director as well, who actually directed John Wayne and all that.
Wow.
So he was doing
Wow.
this miniseries. Those days, miniseries were very popular on NBC and many other channels, and it was called On the Wings of Eagle, based on a book by Ken Follett of the same name about Ross Perot's journey
Oh, wow.
and his company in Iran, which was a computer company at the time of revolution, and then he was trying to get his staff out. So Burt Lancaster goes to the border of Turkey and releases them. So I was one of the leading roles and featuring roles in that film as well.
Oh, wow.
So it just went on. Theater, children's show. I authorshipped and directed and produced a play called Beneath the Veil, which did very well at the Kennedy Center, Lincoln
Oh,
Center.
yes, I read that.
Geffen
That's
Playhouse.
amazing.
Yeah, and so that was about the voices of women in the Middle East, and in particular women in Iran, and atrocities that is against them, unfortunately, after the revolution via religious leaders and religious government,
Yeah.
very extreme government, and also majority of my work, and after that more and more and more to the cat. Yet majority of my work has been focused on the issues of women, and particularly, I mean, Iranian men and Middle Eastern men and women and children. Women have been my main subject,
Yeah.
and I was really passionate about that because I want to make sure that their voices are being heard,
Yes.
and to voice them as you do every day about different subjects. It became my passion. I basically dedicated my career to this. Off, I did some projects with, as you mentioned, Homeland, this and that, and all.
Of
But
course.
my most, and I had to create it myself.
I love that.
Self-motivated, because it wasn't like someone who was hiring me to do this or was telling me to do this, but I felt really uncomfortable and unhappy and sad, and for what was happening to them, and the abuse that it was, the misogyny. I mean, the whole thing that it was
Yeah.
just a part of it. When I made The Cat, I wasn't aware that this recent movement was going to happen.
Yeah.
I just basically gave up. I was just trying to be a voice, again, continuing on the same path that I have gone. Yet, this past 3 months has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Back in
been-
Iran, I'm sure you're in the news, you know
Yeah,
how
it's
what's going
been
on
rough.
there, and it's really sad, and God knows where we're going. But yet, it's like a little voice, like it's like penetrating the world via animation with not a single line in it as
Yeah.
a dialogue
It
going
was
forward.
It was such a powerful film. I personally just loved the visuals, the way that it has like this sort of sketchy style. And it's a very sort of beautiful message, but quite heavy. I'm curious, what made you decide to make this an animated film versus if it was to be live action? Like, what was the choice to make this animated?
It was easier at the time of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because production needs actors and the whole
Right.
everything that you know. And so I decided to use animation, and I thought animation is very powerful because it's a tool to bring out the social issues on the highest level without having the actors, and there's not a single dialogue.
Yeah.
Just a film speaks for itself. And also the Me Too movement that happened in the United States, that was really encouraging for me because women are standing for themselves. So the combination of universal women all over the world, and places like Iran or Afghanistan these days, which it's unbelievable what's happening in the past 4 days in Afghanistan, and has been there forever. They've been fighting over just the minute, small freedoms that they wanted in social circle and in their society. I wanted to make sure that this comes out
Yes.
in the most powerful way that I'm able to do. I've never done animation before.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I fell in love with it, and it's hand sketched, and it took a while in order to do this.
Was there one lead artist? Because I noticed there's several people credited in the credits for animation, so I wasn't sure if you had worked with one specific artist and loved their style, and then they had a team, or was it all a team effort?
It was a team effort, and they're all based in Europe,
Oh, wow.
and so the original storyline and I observed all of it, step per step, sketch per sketch,
Wow.
and to create the character of the little girl that I felt that
So
this is the most
beautiful.
charming way with the flowers that she's trying to sell
So
in this
innocent.
darkness. Yeah. So it was really for me, and that's the innocence. I mean, there's a lot of child labor in Iran and in the neighboring countries, and there's prostitution, there's trafficking on the highest level. I formatted this factory that in the beginning of the film that it's, you know, naked women are coming and being lipstick on and they're being boxed and being sent, and or educated people are sending to war, you know, in that factory, or child labor that they're actually weaving the carpet. So there's a lot that it says, and this girl finally finds a way to sell flowers on the streets, and this black tar and the darkness is following her. And also, I'm sure you've noticed that the main figures that you cannot tell whether they're men or women.
It's just, it felt like it was the mob mentality. Like the darkness just kept spreading, and for her to survive, to find the light was just imperative. And the way that you worked lightness with darkness was just so beautiful and seamless. So to you, I'm curious, what is the darkness? What does that represent when you were making this? Was there a specific, I guess, group that you were targeting, or you wanted it to be just kind of all-encompassing of the things that women have to go through?
Well, naturally, what is happening in Iran, it affected this whole thing for the past 43 years. This is a very serious subject. A part of the world that we're living in is in darkness.
Yeah.
Particularly, half the nation is under covers, and they don't have rights, which happens to be women.
Yes.
Even men are against it, but the government has manipulated the system, and they have governed for all these years with mass murder and detaining people, intellectuals, filmmakers, professors, universities. They're all in jail. Recently, a week ago, there was an actress who was in an Oscar-winning movie, Tarana Ali Duz. She went to jail just because he's objecting to the government, just objecting to the government. And while they're in jail, it's finished. I mean, they're being raped, they're being abused, they're being beaten up. Men, women, men are being raped in that system, which is unbelievable. I mean, we get footage because I'm in touch. I know how to get this information, and via channels that exist that, you know, people somehow, the internet is down, they can't communicate with the world. They are not allowed to send, I mean, major organizations like CNN and any of them, they cannot enter in order to have a reporter for a direct report for what's happening. So everything that is coming from Iran is via people. And the irony is that this is the first female revolution in the history of the world, which is unbelievable, because usually revolutions and changes in the society starts with men and their active role on the streets, but women are doing this. And they don't have a structured government like Ukraine today. If you speak about Ukraine, they have a leader, they have a government, they have a structure in their government, they're fighting back. Now, the politics of it belongs to them, to Russia, and it's affecting all of us, and it will affect more and more. It's unfortunate such thing is happening via Russia. Yet again, with Iran, they don't have a structured government.
Right.
They just are out there. They want this government to be down and changed entirely. They want democracy, which is a fair thing to ask in this modern world. Iran happens to be, it used to be, I'm not sure exactly, but second largest resources of oil, uranium, gas, gold. I mean, and it's just, and every leader and every country has their hand in the same pot in order to take a piece of it so they don't interfere. And most of my statement has been, please help the people of Iran. Leaders, listen to our voices.
Yes,
We're outside. We're trying to have you listen to our voices. Otherwise, people, they don't have weapons. They can't fight back. They're using rocks. And they are killing their own people. It's a civil war in Iran.
Yeah.
Literally, and it's getting worse every day. No one can be on the streets. People are going out. They don't know whether they're coming back. They're being detained, sent to places that is, they don't even know. The families know where their children are. And they call them and say, he was hanged this morning, come to such cemetery. And these are the realities of Iran. Yesterday, a gentleman in France, 38 years old, he made a statement, and a complete sane person, Iranian, and he threw himself in one of the roughest rivers. And he got killed. They found his body. And in his statement, he said that I'm doing this because I want the world, and particularly Europe, to pay attention to the severity of what's happening in Iran. He committed suicide.
Jeez.
This was yesterday.
Oh my God.
So it's like the news that is coming. For me, this, I have a Christian background, and I was, doing like trying to celebrate Christmas. I can't.
Yeah.
It was like really sad this year because you want to take a step and help them, and you don't know how as a citizen, as
Right.
you, me,
Right.
the two of you, me, everybody else. We don't know how unless the leaders take a major step and make a change
Yeah.
and help them strategically the way they know how.
Yeah.
Right.
The way they know how. Because we just can voice them, and that's what we're trying to do. Majority of the Iranian community, majority of the celebrities within the Iranian community outside Iran, that I have a voice, they have a platform like such as this, we try to voice it.
I
And
think
Kat
it's-
is an example of it.
Yes.
I think it's
Okay.
so inspirational to turn something that you are so passionate about and be able to use storytelling as a way to kind of get through to the world. Because I myself resonate with that. I think that as artists and storytellers, that is the power we have. That is the platform we can do to be able to connect and have the biggest louding effect. Because sometimes when there's a speech with politics and stuff, people just tune it out. They don't want to listen. But if you can draw them in with something as captivating as a film such as this, that's when you're going to really start to kind of plant those seeds that are hopefully the change will happen. That's what I
Particularly
hope.
with the social media now.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely.
When
with
you're
social
talking,
media.
exactly, you're talking about 20th century.
Yeah.
It started with Armenian genocide. 1.5 million Armenians were killed by the Ottoman Empire. And the world turned their head because it was a region, there were no cameras, there were no nothing. Then from that, it went to Holocaust. 7 million Jews. And then it goes to Cambodia, it goes to Bosnia, it goes to, Rwanda.
Yeah.
The world has to pay attention. We live on
Absolutely.
this little planet, and we're constantly in conflict with one another over money, over power, over oil, over
Resources.
Yeah.
all the resources. So it's like to be a voice, and sometimes how corny it sounds. It says, "Let's make peace."
Yeah.
I mean, really, everybody has to take a step in order to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're quiet and I'm quiet, this is going to turn into a disaster on this little planet.
Absolutely.
Pacifism is kind of an enemy in a way, just kind of just sitting back and letting
And
other people
silence.
do it.
Yeah, and silent and not saying anything is saying something. So to say something is necessary and very profound, and that's why I love social media, because we're able to see what's going on truly around the world, and women are able to come forth and say their stories, share their stories, and now we're able to see truly from unfiltered lenses what is going on. It's not just like filtered through like media channels. We can actually connect with other people throughout the world that are going through so much pain. And I love that, again, that you use this movie so profound and so beautiful. I have to ask you, what was it like to be up for an Academy Award? That's incredible.
Well, we were a contender.
Yeah.
And we went because the journey was 25 international film festival short film
Amazing.
awards
That's
in
exhausting,
a
I know
matter
that.
of a year. And I was really pleased because I thought maybe it's hard to communicate this with the world. And the world is so smart and wise. And again, as you
Sometimes.
mentioned, at least the young generation are more aware. You're right. That's a good point. But we have to make sure that we make them aware of this.
Right.
I had a few people in my family coming over the other day, and I said, please bring the younger generation in, the 16 years old,
Yes.
that are playing ping pong outside and having fun. And in a matter of 2 minutes, I tried to say a lot.
Yeah.
But I said, please listen, because I was your age at some point, and I had no clue what's happening. I was happy, zappy, a star in Iran. I had
Yeah.
no clue that there was going to be a revolution, and my path is going to change into something that I have to make sure every step I take is an important step, and not be goofy about it and say,
Yeah.
okay, fine, that doesn't matter. This is happening in another side of the other side of the world, so I'm not a part of it.
Right.
So make sure that you take steps within your community, if it's drawing, if it's a little film, if it's helping someone, a homeless in Los Angeles with the homeless
Oh.
issues that we're having in LA and all around the United States. It's interesting. I have to bring this up. Number one, to answer your question, I was thrilled to be a
Yes.
part of the Academy Awards as far as a
Amazing.
contender is concerned. And then, ironically, I found out that in order to make it to the higher level of the Academy and be a part of like the nomination, the marketing of this with huge funding has to be behind it
Oh, I'm
for this little
sure.
film that I unfortunately couldn't sponsor or support this, and especially when it's something on humanitarian level. So it didn't go to the place we were hoping it will. Yet again, that's another politics and another
Right.
ways of going to that level of work. But when I was doing my play Beneath the Veil and traveling with it with 13 members of the actors all around the US and Canada, one of the things that was interesting, I had from the Black community, I had ladies that would come and see the play and would come and wanted to meet me backstage.
Wow.
And this was the interesting part of it. In Glendale, when I did at the Alex Theater, we brought it on stage with 1,400 people. We had a balcony. And on the balcony, I requested from downtown, from the homes that, majority of the people are homeless, to get buses and bring them to see this play.
Wow. That's
And we made
beautiful.
that arrangement, and they came, and they were all in a beautiful, visual point as far as I think balconies are usually the best place to be.
Absolutely.
They came backstage, a few of them, just to thank me, and they also said, ironically, however, you're speaking about the Middle East, and all the stories are covered with the Middle East region of Afghanistan, Iran, mostly Iran, and Saudi Arabia and all that, we can relate to this.
Yeah.
And also what they told me a few years back and said, you don't know what is the domestic issues of the Black women in the United States. And I never forget this
Yeah.
because I think we're all human beings. We're all
Absolutely.
equal.
Absolutely.
And we're fighting for having a peaceful life.
Yes. Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be on the highest level, but we have to try and thrive on that matter to
Absolutely.
help each other any which way we can. So, just listening all this experience, I never thought in my wildest dream that I would be sitting today and speaking about this one day. I was a talented actress, and my mother, she was a major figure, and I went high on the ladder of success in the country of Iran at the time of the king of Iran, who was doing amazing work for that country, and the Pahlavi dynasty. They were amazing, wonderful, wonderful kingdom, and people were going forward. We were allies with the United States and many other countries in the world. Yet again, everything collapsed over this religious revolution, and it got us to the point that we are today.
Well, honestly, we work in an industry where it is a beautiful platform where there's audience members going to see a theater or to a movie theater and to be able to tell stories. But the entertainment industry in general still has some almost unpenetrable walls that people still have to overcome when it comes to diversity in casting, when it comes to equal pay for women. Like, there's so many problems systemic with it. So when you say that the world is wise, I feel like the world is closed-minded, and it's our job as artists and storytellers to try and get through and open their mind. And that, I think, that is how a change can really happen, and that is how things can kind of make the world a better place. But just being kind like you did, and I'm busing in homeless people and actually looking at a homeless person in the eye and saying, I see you, and here's $1. Like, there's certain things you can do to just kind of make a huge difference in someone's life.
That could be me. That could be you.
It could be anybody.
At anybody.
Exactly.
Homelessness is a huge issue in the
really
United
is.
States and all over the world. You're looking at right now, kids in Iran are sleeping on the streets. They don't have food to eat. Here we have children that are hungry, and they're sheltering themselves under the bridges in Los Angeles. And it's you pass and you try to help the best you can, but I don't think that $1 or $2 is not going to help much.
No,
But
it's
maybe
not.
that day, and you feel good as a human being that you're helping them. But yet the issue is much larger, and we have to really, 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 we have to take the steps to help our community to start with, and to teach our children. We are leaving our kids for the future that we're building right now, this moment. So it's like we have to try our best for them to understand that no matter what you do and how much fun and how privileged you are, and don't take anything for granted.
Absolutely.
And take the right steps to make a better community for where you live,
Right.
to help out, even if it's picking your garbage. Don't throw anything anywhere.
Right.
It starts from there, and it goes all the way to people and how you can help them. Go volunteer in something. Anything you can, for animals, for human beings, for downtown, serving food, whatever it is, just to take the right steps and build your children that way. Make sure that your kids learn to help the community. And to help the society, and that society from your home, it starts and it expands to the universe. And your global act as a human being.
So inspired.
Yes, it definitely starts at home, and so much begins in our own homes, and then you see it. Like, I saw this incredible. It's always an animation that speaks more profoundly than just people. There was this beautiful picture, and you see this little kid talking to another little kid. They're both of different races or like different backgrounds, you can tell. and it has it looks like the kid is saying stuff, and then it looks like it's not so great, but then you see like these lines in the back of the child's head going directly to the parent's mouth, and the parent has like the little speakers out of the mouth. So it's like that. When I saw that, I was like, that is so true.
Powerful.
Because what you say is passed down.
So true.
And that is like what is like, for instance, in The Cat, and my recent work is when this girl is running from this darkness and is going through layers of what it has been in the society and her surrounding throughout 40 years. 40 years of disaster in the country of Iran. And at the end, when she reaches at the peak point, she looks at this wall. And this wall is everything because she has nowhere to go. She turns around and she gives in. And her inner power and her inner strength brings this light to fight the darkness. And for myself, at that particular moment when she's standing on top of the staircase and looking up at this wall, however I created it, every time I have tears in my eyes when I'm looking at this huge wall compared to her to be so little and so innocent. And she has no other choice to give in after all the run. And this is all happening in 13 minutes
Yeah, it's
of film.
incredible.
As you mentioned, how in animation we can bring that out. And then when the wall breaks and she walks out to the beauty and to the fresh air and to the ocean that is vast, and she can do anything she wants. When she jumps into this ocean, she becomes that little red fish, and she comes back to her center, and she's still spinning in the same area. But she's freed, and she's
changed.
not.
Yes.
She's changed.
She's
She's changed.
So it's
That's so profound. I think you did such a beautiful job.
Thank you.
And I feel like it's universal. Like it doesn't matter what language you speak, you understand sort of the body language of what's happening. Why the cat though? Like why is cats? I'm curious if that has a symbol for you.
Thank you for asking that.
You're welcome.
When I was a little girl, and I was going to school, and in the class for geography, they told us, don't you ever forget that the map of Iran is like a cat.
Oh.
And it is.
I didn't know that.
And that's why there is white cat and black cat. The white cat is ruling and everybody's happy and she's on a swing. The black cat comes and takes over and the white cat has to leave. And so that's why the name of the film is The Cat. And now it's on YouTube.
It's
Oh,
amazing.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
exciting.
They just have to put my name first before they put the cat.
Yes, they
Because if
do.
they just put the cat, millions of film about different cats or kitties are gonna come up. So they have to put my name because they've asked me, how come we put the cat and nothing happens? All these kitties are mewing, and I said,
Just put your name
Please
first and then
put
the
my name
cat.
first and then my last name, and
The
then
cat.
that would come up. But yes, it's the map of Iran. If you look at the map of Iran,
Wow.
and in the Middle East, it's like a cat.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
So that's what I learned.
I'm
and
glad I asked that. I never would have picked that up on just
Yeah.
like interpreting from the film. So I love how you're such a very passionate and talented storyteller. How did you make that transition from being the actress, as you said, like a Meryl Streep of your generation? You came here. How did you bridge the sort of overcoming of I need to write the story and then I need to direct the story, and like how did you get through those stepping stones? Because that is a very universal thing for a lot of storytellers and people out there that are trying to kind of do something for themselves and write their own path. I'm curious, how was that transition for you?
Initially, there was a lot of fear because I was very young, and those days black and white, even TVs and everything, it was like everybody was talking against Iran, and hostage crisis was happening. And it took 444 days before the government changed in the United States, and then they were released. To begin with, as an actor, it's hard to break into the Hollywood, and you know that.
Yes,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
it's the toughest thing that you can imagine. It's 1 in a million, and you have to be in the right place at the right time, and it's a sheer luck. Is buying like a lotto ticket.
Yeah.
So that's as an actor. And then I had no clue of the Western world and the toughness of Hollywood. I didn't know. I just was here because a revolution has taken place, and I'm younger, talented, award-winning. I didn't know where to go. So, and how to start this. So I decided I was always very much interested in directing. And actually, I graduated from BBC London prior to that in broadcasting and
Oh, wow.
in directorial for television. And so I said, you know what? I know a lot and I've seen a lot through my career. I've never gone to a single acting school. Yet again, I know a lot because I've been in this business. So through some friends and through some community friends and all that, and I said, how can you help me? And a few of them helped me to get like assistant to the assistant of an apprentice in the editing room. Lifting boxes those days of those 35mm film that they were very heavy. I said, I don't care. They're giving me like $400 a week. I'm going to go do it. Then it was a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And so for a few months I did that. And then I became assistant to a gentleman producer who was creating Jordache jeans those days, commercials. And then so there was some money there because they weren't allowing money to come from Iran those days. Everything was blocked because of the hostage crisis.
Go block.
So it was, and so I thought theater, it would be my venue to write, to direct, to present plays for the community via theater. And that's how it just, the whole feel of it came. I worked with some other actors and producers who came from Iran, and they were exactly in the same position. The top-notch producer director in Iran, that was a blockbuster film, he was actually the guardian for evening for the dormitory in Columbia University at some point.
Oh, wow.
You know, in 1981, just to make some money, and because there was no money, everybody was running away. All the brains in Iran, they were running away. They didn't want to stay in there because either they would have been killed, detained, or they would ask them not to work anymore.
Well, they knew better.
They knew better. They came, but the United States was dealing with hostage crisis. So it wasn't a simple matter.
Right.
If you would have announced yourself as an Iranian, it was disaster.
Yeah.
You couldn't have even friends. You know, so it was a very, very difficult situation. Also, my movie Dead End, the last one, which I won the Best Actress Award for in Moscow Film Festival, that at that time, by some miracle, came to Los Angeles Film Festival. Somehow it appeared there.
Wow.
So I got some attention there. I got some interviews on major, like on, I believe at that time it was CBS or NBC, and interviews, and I share those. And if you see my energy then, I have some clips of it, but these are old clips. You would be surprised. When I'm looking at it today and what this journey of 40 years made me, I'm so innocent. I'm crying. I mean, tears are rolling. And it's just, I can't believe this was my status then. And that status, as you mentioned before I came on, every step made me stronger.
Yeah.
Also, something else happened, which was ironic. You may find it ironic. The very first Sundance Institute, led by Robert Redford, the very first, this was before the Sundance Film Festival. I was a participant.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
With Morgan Freeman, with Edward James
Amazing.
Olmos,
That's
and
amazing.
many other amazing. Sidney Pollack was there, the director who passed, you know, made all
Wow,
these
yes.
magnificent films. Redford tried to bring all this magnificent stuff. As a first step, he had a grant from the government of Utah, which he worked very hard in order to create a summer sort of a camp for actors of highest level and talented actors to create, and the writers and producers to create their, 5-minute film as an example, so they can later take this example to a studio and say, this was at this institute, and
That's
this
awesome.
writing material was accepted, and these are the major actors that are in it, so they have a
Let's
chance to
develop this. Let's
create
make it.
this
Exactly.
into
Yeah.
something. So that was the thought. This was before Sundance. This was 1981.
Oh.
I knew Robert Redford was like the.
And I have a picture with them as a group, black and white pictures that they took with
Oh,
Redford and
nice.
Sidney Pollack, Edward James Olmos, which I did my next film 30 years later, just recently, Monday Nights at 7, was in that group. Morgan Freeman is sitting, and Morgan Freeman at that time, he was in the Electric Company. For kids, there was a show called Electric Company, which was competing with,
I don't think I knew he was in that
with
either.
Sesame Street.
Wow.
And so this goes way back. I was here for 2 years, and my movie Dead End was here. So somehow I was cast to go as a part of this group there.
Wow.
Now, being at the peak of the hostage crisis, being an Iranian, a woman, in that group was a miracle,
Yeah.
Wow.
literally a miracle.
Yeah.
And these producers who took me, they did not know that I was born in Iran. Maybe I spoke well the English language or whatever. But the story that took place there, when they found out Carl Malden was there and he was supposed to be my co-starring role, they didn't like the idea that I was Iranian. So the second day I was arrived in Sundance Institute, they, the producer came to me and said to me, announced it when they found out that there has been a mistake and I have to go back.
No.
And I said, well, you've been working with me for the past 3 months. How could I go back?
Yeah.
I am here for this particular film that I read the screenplay. You chose me as the leading. I was like 23, 24 years old. And to work with Carl Malden on this little clip that you want to make and present it to some studio. And they said no. And at that moment, I will never forget this. And I want nobody to forget this who's watching this program today. I said, yes, sir. Why don't you leave? I'll pack. So this whole operation was happening in summertime on the hills of a ski slope, which Redford had coordinated this. So there was no snow. So it was beautiful weather, Utah and all that. So I said, you know what, Mary? You go and talk to Mr. Redford. So it was a gravel road all the way down. I had one of the cabins all the way up there. I walked, and with each step I took, I felt that there's something developing in me that is making me stronger.
Wow.
I don't know what that was,
Wow.
but I knew after everything I've seen, a revolution, kicked out of my own country of birth, of